Hi, welcome to Fanboy and Critic's sub-playlist of Game of Thrones, Season 7. This is Episode 5, Eastwatch. Obviously, it's just me today. I've been traveling, and Jorm's obviously not with me, and I'm going to make it super quick and dirty, but we're going to do a review real quick. First of all, I'd just like to say what an amazing season this season of Game of Thrones has been, because basically this was a filler episode and it's been crazy good, and we had so many things to talk about actually in this episode. So first of all, Jaime made it out of the water. A lot of people were like, I don't think so, but no, they're not gonna, David and Dan aren't gonna kill Jaime like that. George R.R. Martin totally would. David and Dan are not gonna let that happen to Jaime. Dany comes with a straight parallel of her crazy father king, the Mad King, where she is burning a father and son alive to prove a point, and because they wouldn't bend the knee. That's exactly what the Mad King did to Ned's father and brother, or older brother. So Tyrion's seeing this, he's like, oh God, she's being a little crazy, and he's kind of trying to make excuses for her, but he knows this isn't really right. Then Jorah came back, and then left. Really quickly. Great. As if we need a refresher, the Macers at the Citadel are total douchebags to Sam. They just kind of laugh at him, and I could tell just by the way the whole conversation was going, because later on in the episode I was like, Sam, don't go rogue, don't go rogue. And obviously he just goes in a restricted section, steals all these books, all these scrolls, and books it. And this was actually the hardest thing in the world for Sam to do, because leaving his family high and dry was not a big deal because his dad was a jerk and his family life was pretty terrible. And joining the Night's Watch, taking the black, actually wasn't that big of a deal for him, because first of all, the vow of celibacy, he wasn't getting any anyways, but second of all, his friends there were the only real family he's ever had, so taking the black was nothing to him. But he's always wanted to be a maester, he's always wanted to be a man of books and intellect, and he had to leave that behind. This was the hardest thing in the world for him to do. You could see him look back into the library, and it's the most heartbreaking thing for that character. Obviously, there's a lot of heartbreaking things in this show, and that doesn't rank top 10 of most of them. Side note, Gilly just discovered the written record that Rhaegar and Lyanna got married, and we just kind of brushed past that. And then we go up to the north, and all of a sudden the Northmen are all like, yeah, Jon Snow's all right, but Sansa, she should be leader now. That came out of nowhere. Sansa got some walk and talks, West Wing style, making her look really in charge and put together. But at the end of the day, it just seems like the Northmen just are stupid and unloyal, and they're just like, oh, you're sitting at the front of the room? I guess we'll follow you now. But obviously all these men have been gotten to by Littlefinger. He's obviously poisoning their ears a little bit and just being like, hey, Sansa's doing a pretty good job. Why do you need Jon? And then Arya and Sansa have a really lame moment of well, you didn't protect Jon enough. And she's like, I need to make sure everybody likes me. And that's their big falling out. Come on now. They're still not on the same page, and Littlefinger obviously sees this. And this spy versus spy action, that was such an amazing scene. And if you look back, there's literally 2 lines of dialogue, maybe 3, and the whole scene is completely silent, and you know exactly what's happening, and it is just one of the most intense scenes. And from the beginning, from the very first time she was watching him, I was like, it's a trap, Arya. He's too smart. He knows you're watching him. He saw what you could do the other day in the courtyard, and lo and behold, it was a trap. And if you didn't stop to read the scroll there, it was actually from Sansa in Sansa's hand, and it said that she pledges fealty to Joffrey Baratheon, and that Ned Stark was a complete traitor, and that they were right to execute him. Obviously, that's a big problem for Arya, but obviously, for all of us, we know that Cersei was coercing her to write this. It was in Sansa's hand with her sigil and stamp on it, but it was obviously coerced, and we'll come back to that later. All right. Gendry's back, which is awesome, and that means we get one of the best jokes I've ever heard on Game of Thrones. I thought you might still be rowing out there. I could not contain myself. That was the funniest joke Game of Thrones has ever had. And most of us, if you're paying attention to that sort of thing, knew he's coming back this episode. But man, is he good with that hammer, and that is exciting. Cersei kind of drops a bomb of her own on Jaime. She tells him that she's pregnant, and I'm not sure if this is real, because crazy girls in real life, when they sense a man pulling away from them, sometimes pretend to be pregnant to keep them around, and I do not think Cersei is above that. Obviously, it worked. Jamie's back in 100%. But this entire episode was really just leading up to what I like to call the Expendables of Westeros. Like, they are just building the badass team to go up north on, like, a suicide mission. There's all the testosterone in Westeros is up north now, and that's going to be super cool. But when I think about the Expendables, comparing them, I'm just like, oh, maybe not. But the logic of their mission really doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Like, they're trying to capture a single white out of like hundreds of thousands of other whites, and they're trying to capture one to bring it back to King's Landing to convince Cersei to stop fighting, but just for a minute, because they can keep fighting later, but they got to kill all the already dead people. Like, the logic of this mission just doesn't make that much sense to me. But whatever. It's going to be badass. All right, so now on to the predictions. My first prediction is actually with the Arya Sansa thing. I think collectively they're actually smart enough to realize, like, Littlefinger is setting us up. Like, this is what he wants. He wants us to be, like, torn apart. And I think they're going to figure that out. I think what's really going to cause a problem is Sansa is still going to believe that she needs the Knights of the Vale. And so she's going to be like, we can't kill Littlefinger. We'll figure something out, or maybe we'll just keep playing like we're angry at each other. And then Arya's just going to kill him. And it's going to create the actual rift that Littlefinger wanted, but Littlefinger won't be around to reap the benefits. I don't know what's going to happen with the Expendables going up north. But it seems weird that they'll put so many main characters in the same place and have them all return safely. So I think some of them are going to die. I want to say like at least half. But going with the crazy predictions that I have been doing, I'm going to say Jon is going to die. Jon is going to die, which shatters the flimsy alliance that they have with like the Wildlings, the Night's Watch, the North, the Targaryens, like the Brotherhood Without Banner. Like, all of those alliances are centered around Jon Snow. That's going to be over, and it's going to make it even harder for not only for them to take out the White Walkers, but then it's going to be harder for them to regroup after that battle and take out the Lannisters. All right, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out our Patreon. Come check us out next week, where I'm back in LA with Joram, and we are going to do a more legitimate review of episode 6, the second to last episode of this season. That is so crazy. It is almost done.